Hello Battle Cats players, my name is Chance and welcome to my guide. Today we're going to be covering another one of the waifu units. We're covering Thundia. This uber rare cat can be unlocked by playing the rare cat capsules during the Cyber Academy Galaxy Girls or the Red Buster or the Best of the Best events. We covered her counterpart Windy in the previous episode, so be sure to check that out as well. And as always, it is my hope that by discussing really everything there is to know about Thundia, you can make a more informed decision on not only how to best use them, but also how far to invest into them, if at all. Let's first get started by taking a look at Thundia's evolutionary line. Starting out with Thundia herself, whose description reads, a galaxy girl who can manipulate electricity, brings down bolts from a distance, massive damage to red enemies, area attack. Then at level 10, she will evolve into Thundia type Beta. Always worries about her chronic neck pain, likes watching cartoons in her spare time, massive damage to red enemies, area attack. Then at level 30, as well as the addition of some Catfruit and XP, she will become Divine Thundia. When you have a goddess's body, it's tough to find clothes that fit. Long distance area attacks deliver massive damage to red enemies. Now then, let's take a look at a brief overview of Thundia's performance. Firstly, Thundia is considered to be a nuker and a backliner, nukers being units with slow attack rates that deal extreme damage, and backliners being a unit with a range of 400 to 499. As far as pros go, you have many knockbacks and high damage while in true form. Under cons, low health and movement speed while in normal and evolved form, and a long attack rate and animation. Under other considerations, you have deals massive damage to red enemies. This enables the unit to do 3 times damage to red enemies or 4 times damage if you have the relevant Catfruit treasure. Now then, let's talk strategy while checking out some gameplay. Firstly, as far as cost goes, in Chapter 1 this unit will cost 2,940 cents, Chapter 2 4,410 cents, and Chapter 3 5,880 cents. As far as how to use Thundia, it's basically the same as really most of the nukers in the game. That being, of course, make sure they're well protected by tanks and or meatshields, and send them out and just do massive damage to the traded type, in this case red enemies. It is worth noting that Thundia is best paired with crowd control units, namely units that slow and freeze, as this just really increases her odds of getting off a successful hit on a full stack of enemies. When it comes to nukers, one of the biggest letdowns is when they miss. Their attack animation is just so long that it's just really an anticlimactic feeling. As far as units that Thundia is really good against, you're going to look at like Cappy, One Horn, JK Bun Bun, really any of the slow-moving tankier enemies. However, against more long-range enemies like Toucan and Hacky, it's not really viable to use her, unfortunately. I mean, in theory, if you get lucky enough with the attack timing, it could make sense. Thundia has enough knockbacks where she's actually kind of tanky enough on her own for the most part. At the very least, she can reset her positioning enough where there's a lot more use cases for her. As far as stats go in the true form, she gets a very, very substantial stat increase, and it makes her far more viable during the mid and end game. Granted, she is in a very competitive niche, that of course being anti-red units, and it is one of those niches that is already very dominated by actually some units we've covered so far, but some we are yet to cover. So it might not always make sense to use her depending on what you have access to. However, if you're struggling against any of the enemies that she happens to trade favorably with, and you just need that little bit extra DPS, I would recommend, if nothing else, just throwing her on the lineup and maybe just testing to see if it works. She herself is not a bad unit within her niche. The issue, once again, is just the metas being very clearly defined. Once again, this game is over 10 years old. We've had time to kind of suss out all the details at this point. Everyone kind of knows what's up for most stages. But if you don't have access to the meta-defining units, try out Thundia. If nothing else, the jiggle physics should keep you entertained where you might not notice the loss, or if nothing else, it might not be as painful. But that's just my 2 cents, of course. Now then, let's move on to cat combos. Thundia, much like her counterpart Windy, only has access to one cat combo, that being Struck by Lightning. This is a massive damage effect up of the small variety involving Thundia and Skelecat. This increases the effectiveness of massive damage by 10%. I actually kind of like this combo, really just because it uses Skelecat. Skelecat is of course infamously known for the Bio Bone stacking, so you could do Bio Bone as well as Struck by Lightning, and then throw in some anti-red units on your little bottom for the loadout screen, and that should be a pretty good team in my estimation. As far as Catfruit, you're going to need to true form this unit. You're going to need 4 purple, which can be obtained every Tuesday, 8 red, which can be obtained every Wednesday, 3 blue, which can be obtained every Thursday, 4 yellow, which can be obtained every Friday, and 4 epic, which can be obtained by really any of the Catfruit stages, with the exception of Growing Strange and Growing Evil. And you can also get it through the dual Cyclone fights, and if you beat an Ancient Curse, you also get access to the Growing Epic stages every weekend, so there is that. You also need the standard 1 million XP. Now then, I'm just going to flash a couple stat screens pertaining to Thundia while reading out some trivia. This unit takes Rajin as a theme. Circular drums are a common trait to be found in the portrayal of Rajin. Similar to Kai and Windy, Thundia also doubles in base health and speed when gaining her true form. She also has the same stats as Windy, with the exception of being a different targeted trait, 10 less range and 1 less knockback. The outlet on Divine Thundia's tail matches up perfectly with the plug on Divine Windy's tail. That's basically a supporting argument for my theory that I think they were intended to be a couple to some extent, which is really like progressive for Ponos. In addition to that, I think it's kind of interesting that her figure, for lack of a better term, is noted in her descriptions as well, specifically talking about chronic neck pain, and neck and back pain tends to be associated with, having ginormous, struggling to find the term, but you know what I mean, right? Also, the reference to being tough to find clothes that fit. Yeah, it's one of those things. There's an anime trope where when female characters tend to get more powerful, they tend to lose clothes somehow. I know Lucas kind of talked about this in a live stream a long time ago, so I'm not going to pretend that pointing this out is an original thing, but even if he didn't bring it up, I'd probably still point it out. I don't know, it's just one of those weird tropes for sure. Now then, let's talk about talents here. So as far as available talents go, Thundia has access to Attack Up, which adds a 23% boost to attack power at 50% health, and this increases by 3% per level to 50% for a total NP cost of 235. Resist Wave, which reduces wave damage by 5% per level up to 50% for a total NP cost of 175, Curse Immunity for 100 NP, and Defense and Attack Buff, which increase their respective traits by 2% per level up to 20% for a total NP cost of 175. Now then, as far as non-viable talents go, it's not really worth investing into Wave Resist. Thundia isn't inherently a tanky enough unit to really take any advantage from this. Also, Curse Immunity is just super niche, and you're not really going to be using this unit against relics anyways, so it doesn't really matter too much. What you're going to want to prioritize is similar to Windy as well as most other nukers, and that's just raw damage. Anything that makes a unit a better class type is preferable over just general stuff. So you're going to want to invest heavily into Attack Up as well as Attack Buff, and if you have some NP to burn, Defense Buff as well might be worth it depending on how often you're using this particular unit. Overall, it is worth stating that if things play out favorably, this unit can deal very impressive damage. That being said, it needs to hit first, and that tends to be a problem for nukers, especially when CC is a little bit light. So just, I don't know, it's really high peaks, but also kind of really low floors, if that makes sense. Now that you know what I think about Thundia, let's hear what all of you had to say about them. Starting out with Mimra here, who came equipped with another very well thought out analysis, saying, in my Windy analysis, I forgot to include cons, so in this one I'll include cons. She's an anti-red nuker. Thundia is very similar to Windy in stats, as they have a similar amount of damage, health, nearly the same attack frequency, and similar attack animation speeds. She has 10 less attack, 2 less speed, 1 less knockback. You can essentially say she's the anti-red version of Windy or Bahamut. She's also great for enemies like Boar, Redface, and more. She has slow attack frequency, causing her to miss pretty often. She is sort of solid as an anti-red nuker, but red is a trait with a lot of way better counters like Courier. I was using the True Form level 30 stats, by the way. Still say she's mid C tier, as the trait red has a lot of competition. Yeah, I agree. It's one of those weird things where so much of this game is based around gacha luck, where it's kind of hard to say exactly what you will or will not have access to. However, Courier is certainly meta-defining for the anti-red niche, and really for most general squads in general, if that makes sense. Not to say there's anything inherently wrong with Courier. I know I have a couple fans who really don't like that particular unit, but at the end of the day, like, if you don't like it, you don't have to use it. There are plenty of alternatives. Thundia, in terms of raw DPS, is very impressive, but as with most nukers, it freaking sucks when they miss. Up next, we have that Carl dude who says, I have 2 massive reasons why I like to use Thundia. Yeah, I'm sure it's her personality and her intelligence, my friend. I completely agree. Angie High says, I can't wait for the thumbnail on this one. Unfortunately, I'm trying not to get too crazy with the thumbnails anymore. Firstly, I'm pretty sure it got me in trouble with YouTube, and secondly, I'm also pretty sure it just takes way too much effort, and I can't really afford to spare the time at this point in my life, unfortunately. And at I'm freaking stupid says, well, it's just like a smug kind of smirk face, I guess. And fair enough, brother. Once again, she has an amazing set of personality on her. A nice symmetrical pair of intelligence, if you know what I mean. In any case, that's really all there is to say about Thundia. Good unit in a vacuum, but relative to the niche she occupies, just gets outclassed too easily. Good nuker, good for DPS, but sucks when she misses. In any case, let me know what you think of her down beneath in the comments section. As always, thank you for watching until this point. Don't forget to like and subscribe for Cat God's blessing and next gacha roll. And as always, I'll be talking to you all soon.